You can schedule remote class meetings by using Canvas's ZoomProd utility. Every course has Canvas ZoomProd embedded into it. You can just click on your course to open it and look on your navigation for ZoomProd. There's this one. The first time you do this, you may need to authorize the integration between the two. You'll see a purple authorize button. You can go ahead and click that. I've already done it for my classes. And this is where you can schedule your Zoom meetings. The nice thing about scheduling here in Canvas is that you don't have to worry about sending the invitation to your students. Both you and your students will just need to go into your Canvas class, click on ZoomProd, and then join the meeting directly once it's scheduled. So I can schedule a new meeting. You do need to give it a title. You can also set them to recur, which is a nice feature. If you schedule the first one, sometimes they're a little weird when you set them to recur. So expect that you might have to edit this after you pick the days that it's recurring on. So if I start, maybe we'll say on Tuesdays, and we'll say they're 3 hours long every Tuesday. You do have some Zoom meeting options here, just like you do in the regular Zoom. I encourage you to turn on the videos. You can decide if you want to record the meeting automatically. For audio, I'm always going to encourage you to use both, so that way if your student's microphone fails, they can call in from their telephone. So you can click that. And then to schedule them to recur for the entire semester, go ahead and click the Manage Sessions button. By default, ZoomProd wants your class to meet every day, which it probably doesn't. So maybe it's just meeting on Tuesdays. You can uncheck the other days of the week, and then tell it for how many weeks you want it to recur. So maybe a traditional 15-week long semester. You'll notice, like I said before, that the duration, some reason, resets to 1 hour. So just keep that in mind. You might need to change that back to 3 hours if that's how long your class is meeting. You can say save. Once they're scheduled here, you can just double check that you've gotten all the right dates. If there's one that's wrong, or maybe you're not meeting that week, or whatever the case may be, you can edit this by just clicking on the Sessions button. And so perhaps, like if one class meeting is not happening, something over like Easter break or whatever the case may be, you can go ahead and just trash that one instance, and that would remove it. So if I take off class meeting 9, for example, here. A few other things I was going to show you when I close this and go back to the meetings list. The recordings do render here automatically. So if you record your class to the cloud, the students who missed class or want to review class can just go in and click recordings. There's no link for you to send them. It'll just show up automatically, so that's a nice feature. Reports tells you who attended class, so if you're using Zoom to take your attendance, that will show there as well. And then the Sessions button, as I said, is how you edit just individual sessions. As I said before, both you and your students can join the meeting by just clicking the green Join button. You can do it too. If you made a mistake and you need to delete this entirely, that's just fine. You would do that under More, or you can go back and edit if you forgot to turn on some features that maybe you wanted. You notice we have a couple other tabs here. Office hours is a recurring meeting, so if you have office hours scheduled for like Tuesdays at 3 and Mondays at 9 or whatever the case may be, you can set in a new office hours one. What you'll notice when you go to add an office hours one, there is no date and time. This is really just meant to render a Zoom meeting, and then the idea is that the students will jump on this Zoom meeting based on the guidelines you outlined for office hours in your syllabus. So ZoomProd and Canvas is not going to let you define those. You have to define them in your syllabus document, but it will create the link so you and your students can easily hop onto them. The same is true with the Zoom, the student groups one. Cancel out of this. The study group, sorry, I said student groups, I meant study groups. It's the same idea, is you can create a Zoom space for them, and then you can add in particular students to that space. So if there's just a few small groups working on that, that's how that one works. Anything you schedule in Canvas ZoomProd, obviously your students automatically have the link, because all they have to do is click on your course, click on ZoomProd, and then join. The nice feature about scheduling here, it also adds it to your course's calendar. So if I click on the calendar icon over here on the purple menu, and I turn on this class, which was my Fall 21 class, you'll see where it's scheduled here in the Zoom meetings. And then this shows on the students' calendars as well, so they can click on this and they can get into it. It's nice because it sort of schedules the time. Also, anything you schedule in Canvas does render in your Zoom portal automatically, and in the Zoom portal you have a few more options. So I'll open a new tab and show you what that looks like. Going into My NU, and then going into the Zoom utility is probably the most direct route. You're always going to want to sign in as a faculty member. If you click on Meetings, you'll see that even though I scheduled it in Canvas, it does show right here the EDU 505 class meeting, which I can click on to open. If you're inviting guests to this class meeting, so maybe people who are external from the university, you can grab the meeting invitation right here by clicking Copy Invitation, and then clicking the blue Copy Meeting Invitation button. Doesn't really look like much happens, although it highlights. It does say it's copied to the clipboard, so then when I go into my email, I can go ahead and just paste this information. And then anybody who's not associated with your class or even the university can still jump onto that meeting. Last thing I'll mention too is that anything that's scheduled in Canvas renders in your web portal. It also renders in the Zoom client application if you do have that installed on your computer, which I recommend. You can check on that on PCs, you would go to the Start menu. On Macs, it would go into your apps. Go very far down to the Z's for Zoom, which you can obviously see I have a shortcut there, but click on Zoom to start it. If I go home, this would just see your home session. Click on your meetings, and if I scroll to my meetings, it would start on January 18th. It's right there, and I can start it right from here. I can also copy the invitation there as well if I needed to. So lots of different ways you can get this and share it with your class.